So my question to you is, why then do you want to make sweeping changes to the Muhammad Ali Reform Act that is meant to protect fighters to bring about a business model that currently has your company already paid out $375 million in antitrust lawsuits and has 2 potential pending class action lawsuits on the way as well?
Well, this is obviously a long discussion. If you want to talk to me about that, set up an interview. This isn't about me and my business. It's about these 2 guys on Saturday night.
Alright, so I don't care how many punches are thrown during the Canelo versus Crawford fight this Saturday, there is no way that either of them are going to take more shots than Dana White has throughout this week. Dana needs to realize that these boxing reporters aren't the same clowns that will kiss his ass because they're afraid of him revoking their press passes. These are real reporters, they aren't afraid of him. Not only that, they are real reporters that actually have a passion for asking the real questions, and they're just not the type of people to back down at Dana's pathetic bullying. And I don't know if it's just a combination of him being the new promoter on the block, along with him being backed by the Saudis, on top of the fact that he's trying to completely reform laws that are made to protect boxers, but these guys have been stepping on his neck this week, and frankly, I love it. It's obvious that Dana wasn't prepared for actual journalism to come his way, and the contrast between the questions he's been asked this week compared to UFC fight weeks really highlights just how much he's neutered the UFC media, and yeah, in this video, I'm going to be talking about all this and more.
My follow-up, Dana. Earlier this week, the California State Athletic Commission had a hearing about TKO trying to bring those changes to the Ali Act, and it was postponed 3 months.
Listen, I get it. You want to showboat right now. Set up an interview with me if this is really what you want to talk about.
It's America, baby.
If you have questions for these 2, ask them and you can set up an interview with me.
First of all, Sean Zittle, aka the guy who's pressing Dana, is a fucking Chad. It has been so long since we've seen someone actually call him out for his bullshit during a media event, and you can tell that he was completely unprepared on how to respond to a tough question. The deflection out of this guy is just insane, yet completely par for the course for him. Even going back to the first question that I showed you at the start of this video, Mr. Krabs has outright said he supports changing the Muhammad Ali Act so that he can run a promotion similar to the structure of the UFC. As you can imagine, boxers, coaches, and managers have all protested this because the Muhammad Ali Act is good for the athletes. Also, when I watched this clip for the first time, I audibly cackled at the idea of Dana proposing to do an interview with Zittle after he already showed disdain towards the way Dana wants to change the sport. Ain't no way Dana's gonna want to do a one-on-one with this dude now that he knows that he's gonna get grilled. I love how Dana calls what Zittle is doing showboating as if it's not his job to ask him informed questions. How dare you showboat by asking me well-researched and relevant questions about my future business plans in an industry that I'm making my promotional debut in. Like, I wouldn't even call this hard-hitting journalism. It's pretty standard affair as far as I'm concerned. But again, Dana's so used to his crew of lackeys asking him, do you like Chicago? What's been your favorite thing to eat while you've been here? God forbid Zittle, who has a YouTube channel completely dedicated to boxing, wants to challenge Dana's plans to try and make boxing worse. Honestly, it's not even that I love watching Dana squirm and panic his way out of a tough question, even though I definitely do love it. I just think it's refreshing to hear a reporter who actually sounds like he loves the sport that he's covering. And look, I do believe that guys like John Morgan and Brett Okamoto do love MMA, but with their endless carousel of generic questions that they've been recycling for years, it's easy for me to forget that they've been covering MMA for over a decade. If I were a new fan to MMA, I would seriously think that John Morgan is a dude that they pulled out of an all-you-can-eat buffet and threw a press pass on him. You could wake me up from a 4-day heroin binge and I would still be able to ask better questions than Morgan.
Dana, my follow-up is, if TKO can't make those changes to the Ali Act, will you still invest in the sport of boxing? Will you compete in the market?
Listen, if you want to be an asshole, let's do it in private and we can do an interview.
Yes or no?
If you want to showboat, I get it. If you have questions for these 2 that are fighting on Saturday, that's a different story.
Fight.
This isn't a discussion to have at a press conference for these 2 that are going to fight on Saturday, 2 legends. If you want to set up an interview with me and ask me these questions, let's do it one-on-one.
Sounds good.
You can ask me anything you want.
All right. Well, Terence and Saul, have a good fight.
Yeah, you have a question for these 2?
No.
No? Beat it. Go ahead, who's next?
Yes, crowd, boo this man. Who does Dana think he's kidding? Like, how often do we ever see him take interviews with non-established media members these days? This is the only time that Zittle is going to get an opportunity to ask Dana anything face-to-face. Dana makes it seem like he's doing interviews with anyone and everyone on a regular basis, so I would hardly say it's out of line for this guy to call him out during this press conference. On that note, it is a boxing press conference, and Zittle is asking Dana a boxing-related question. This is a completely valid question to ask given the circumstances. Dana's such a gaslighter. He's made it clear that he wants to change the Ali Act. He agrees to promote this boxing event. He's up there on the stage, so yeah, I feel like it's open season to ask him about it. It's funny, as much as Dana has talked about moving into boxing, and he's even bragged about how he's going to be the guy to fix boxing, he can barely even handle knowledgeable boxing journalists. Sure, I do think that Sean Zittle was a bit confrontational, but I think his concerns are understandable, seeing as he's watching a guy who's notoriously taken advantage of his athletes move into the sport that he clearly loves. As somebody who's watched Dana burn bridges with his fighters for like 17 years now, I can't blame anyone who loves boxing to be worried about how his move into the sport is going to impact those involved.
And what I'm going to do is basically like the Contender Series. The best will fight the best, undefeated guys will fight undefeated guys, and what you will do is you will care about the first fight of the night and not just the main event.
Okay, so you will help raise these boxers, and then once they reach the potential of a Canelo, let's say, they're going to make the big money with Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, they're going to make big money here too. I mean,
Dana, you're paying the guys on the Contender Series like $5K to show. There's no way the boxing equivalent is going to be any better.
everybody likes to throw the fighter pay out there, yet nobody does their homework. It's just a fun little, soundbite. Most of these guys that fight in boxing make $100 a round.
Also, on the topic of homework, let's talk about Conor McGregor. Across all of his UFC cards that he's headlined, he has sold 13.3 million pay-per-views, and his total UFC earnings are generally estimated to be somewhere in the ballpark of 115 million. Now, let's compare that to his one singular boxing fight against Floyd Mayweather, which sold 4.3 million pay-per-views, where he got paid $100 million. Dana loves to tell people that UFC pay is better than boxing, but there is a reason why so many MMA fighters have been making their way over to boxing lately. It's because it pays better. I don't need to do my homework. I just need to have eyes to see that boxing is the more lucrative sport, even for these MMA guys that aren't even close to top tier boxers. That's why Ilia Topuria has been chirping at Terence Crawford, because he knows that if he's able to get that fight, it'll be the biggest payday of his life.
So the whole, fighter pay thing is completely not true. And what I want to do is, obviously I'm doing this Canelo Crawford fight, and I don't think anybody's questioning what these two are going to get paid.
Well, I am, because it's not on record. What's the base purse for Canelo?
Well, imagine what it would take to get Canelo to fight Crawford and have a guy move up weight classes when he's undefeated.
I've heard 100 million.
Probably.
But no one in the UFC's ever made that as a base purse.
Conor McGregor?
100 million. But that was against Floyd in a boxing match. Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Wow, Dana proving everybody's point live in 4K. This dude seriously thought that he checkmated the reporter, when in reality, he just stepped on a rake and hit himself in the face. Yeah, the only time that a UFC fighter has made 100 million in one night was when that UFC fighter went to boxing. This dude finally said the quiet part out loud, and that sheepish look down to the floor tells me that he realized that he fucked up big time. And it's not even like he got baited that hard. He wasn't outmaneuvered during the interview. He got some very mild pushback from the journalist, got offended, and then tried to prove his point in the dumbest way imaginable. Also, I feel like we're getting mixed messages from Dana, because him saying that he's going to create a feeder organization that makes stars so that he can then pass them over to the Saudis sounds a bit different from him a couple of years ago saying that he's going to completely revolutionize boxing, creating a promotion that signs B-tier fighters where 98% of them are inevitably going to amount to nothing. Doesn't sound like it's going to change the sport all that much, but what do I know? If you're asking me, it kind of sounds like Dana's already getting cold feet with how invested he wants to be as a boxing promoter, but that's just my take on the situation.
And he has now said essentially that his side of this new thing with TKO and Turki Al-Sheikh, he'll be like the Contender Series to the ring cards. At least that's what it sounds. What do you make of all of this? It seems to have changed from what we first thought Dana and Turki.
It's what I said the league was. It's lower level fighters and young prospects who they believe they can build into big stars, to big pay-per-view stars. I don't think it works, but will it? These guys are very powerful. They're very clever, and I'm sure they're going to come up with something compelling. But in boxing, that's not a new format. That's been done before. We're all trying to build stars.
I don't understand how Dana's boxing Contender Series has any chance of being a success. Isn't he the same guy that says that most UFC fighters don't make any revenue for the company? Which is true, they don't. But he's going to make a boxing promotion where nobody knows any of the guys that are fighting, and he claims that he's going to pay them big money. So how is this promotion going to make money? This shit is not adding up. I think that Dana's gotten so used to running a monopoly in MMA to the point where he's a bit in over his head when it comes to a decentralized sport like boxing. In MMA, everybody wants to end up in the UFC. That is the end goal. But for boxing, there is a lot of different options, and it doesn't seem like Dana understands how to promote in a sport where fighters have more free will. Overall, this was just a travesty of a week for Dana media-wise. This guy has been bullied, pressed, and grilled from every direction, and I've fucking loved it. He has completely sheltered himself in an echo chamber with a bunch of yes-man reporters for so long that he's forgotten what sort of questions he'll get asked from real reporters with actual journalistic integrity. He's become so accustomed to his regular pep rallies that he didn't even consider that he'd be asked some real questions, and each time he was faced with someone that wanted legitimate answers, he came up short. And obviously, Sean Zittel is never going to be allowed back at a TKO boxing event, and Dana's probably never going to do another interview with this lady ever again, but this week has shown how carefully manufactured and curated UFC media events have become. Everyone's too scared of losing their cushy UFC reporter job, so they just suck up to him. But at least for now, while Dana is still new to boxing, these guys don't have to be as scared of him because he has way less clout than he does in MMA. In MMA, he's basically bald god, but in boxing, he's just another promoter. He's a major promoter, but he's absolutely not the biggest. Personally, I think Dana's in over his head, but I also get the strange feeling that he's starting to realize it also. Boxing's a whole different beast, and he doesn't have the first to market advantage like he did with the UFC. He was able to write the book on Western MMA, but I really don't think he's going to have nearly the same success with boxing. Anyways, that is the video for today. Definitely let me know what you think about the roast of Dana White that took place this week. Have you enjoyed watching Dana get grilled, and how successful do you think his boxing promotion is going to be once it drops in 2026? As always, if you like the video, then like the video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. I appreciate you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Boxers get paid more than MMA as a whole. Like, it's no comparison. You know, that's why if you notice, you see a lot of
top.
No.
At the top.
As a whole. UFC, okay, for instance, you'll see a guy headlining at the Spear. They probably be getting a couple of $1 million. But you'll see a guy on the undercard of a big show probably making more money than that guy.
Which guy?
I'm just saying. Guys.
We don't want to open up the books now. We don't want to open up the books.
I'm just saying.
I do agree. Like at your level right now, you're your own boss.
Not me. Not me.
Oh, you outlier. Yeah.
Not me. I'm saying on the undercard, so that takes me out of the equation. So how much? All right.